Well, it looks like such a change from last year. During last year, 2011, there was record rainfall in the United States, and there was a lot of rumors about flooding causing maybe earthquakes and things like that in New Madrid line. That the flooding was so severe, and that it was putting pressure upon the Mississippi River and the earth structure below the surface. Well, here it is 1 year later, and we have the exact opposite effect. Now, what has been changed, though, in the last 3 weeks or so is the amount of severity of the drought. Now, just so many weeks ago, they were talking about it was the worst drought since 1983. Now, this is right off of Wikipedia, and Wikipedia seems to update things quite often. You just have to find them. But now it says many in state and city record high temperatures set during the 1936 heat wave have stood until 2012 North American heat wave. So in other words, we have actually exceeded the Dust Bowl of the 1930s. We've already exceeded that. And I just can't see how this bodes well for the economy in general, but it doesn't, quite obviously. This is a 1936 temperature chart. It basically looks something like what's going on today. It's mainly in the Midwest. And again, it was temperature, and here it is, precipitation. There was a lot of drought. Same area was affected, all along the Mississippi, mainly in the center of the United States. The outer states, in other words, Florida, Washington, Oregon, Maine, and things like that, were largely unaffected as they are today. And same type of deal. But I also mentioned that, oil production is greatly affected by this, because if you can look, even though it's a 1936 chart, similarly things are happening right now in 2012. The Bakken Oil Basin and everything like that is actually experiencing somewhat of a drought too, and they use a lot of water to extract oil from shale oil. So, the type of oil extraction that's going on today is dependent upon water, and it's even that way in Canada with the tar sands, and also that way with fracking with natural gas. Now, I want to point out something else. This is actually a chart. This is one of the double. This is exchange traded note, though. It's this Power Shears double agricultural, double long exchange traded note stock symbol DAG. Now, you notice how hyperbolic it's went in the last few months. It's actually, jumped up about good 50% inside of a few months. And that's mainly due to corn and soy prices. But, even though some people in the investment world are probably taking some money off the table on this, I don't know, because you know what, something else is coming up. This is kind of a twofold update. I'm going into some financial things. When something else that's coming up, actually, like a lot of people are focused in on the United States, what's going on here with the drought. Well, there's a drought in Russia, too. Russia, last year, they had a record rainfall or a high amount of rainfall, very good crops, just like in the United States. There was a lot of rainfall, but sometimes it was too much rainfall for the agriculture. But the drought problem happening today is actually much more severe. But in Russia in 2012, this year, it's changed the exact opposite of what happened last year. They're having a severe drought, and their crops are 30% below normal. So they're not going to export. Well, it looks like as of right now, they're not going to be exporting any crops. So even though this thing looks like it went parabolic, this exchange traded note for double agriculture, DAG, it may, even though it might take a little bit of a pause, it looks like it's taking a pause right now, it could really take off even some more, because the global supply of food is down. Now, in the case of betting on food going up more, it probably is a good bet for the short term. It looks like Jim Rogers was 100% correct, and he's mainly into agriculture for a long range, because he realizes a lot of people aren't into farming because it's not something associated with high status. What a lot of people like, they like to be felt like they are somebody. They're this, they're that, and I don't know if it's actually due to media, the way media presents farming or whatever the hell it is. But um, I'd have to say that organic farming probably is a very noble type of profession because it's involved in healing and health and longevity. So, there you go. But this is a picture basically from the 30s classic Dust Bowl picture. That's really what's going on today in the United States. And as I see it, though, it's going to bode bad for the economy and its stock market. Now, in the 1930s, they had the Dust Bowl in 1933 and 1936. This is a chart of the Dow. It was still going up. It didn't do another correction until, say, the late 1937. Now, this chart only goes to 1930. And before this, there was a crash in 1929, and it retraced. It went up to another, like, 2/3 retracement, and then it crashed all the way down over the next couple of years. I don't think, what's going on today, you're going to see this type of thing happen, because you see what's going to probably happen today is, since we have the ability today to keep the stock market inflated artificially one way or the other, the Fed Reserve has the tools at its disposal to keep the stock market up. We may see stock prices being up there pretty good, but you know what? It's kind of going back to the old adage. It's going to bode very well for like gold and silver. So I'd have to state that the situation in the 30s is kind of similar in some ways, but the big difference is the gold and silver deal is going to be much different, because when they're going to be inflating the stock prices or whatever, they're going to be trying to pump up the economy. Gold and silver are basically going to go through the roof. And I could see what's going on right now with this drought. It's like the leading edge of the storm. It's reality. It's not conspiracy. It's not drama. It's not this and that. It's reality. It's a very severe drought. And that actually is a major slice of the economy. That's a major problem with the insurance companies. That's a major problem with our oil production in the United States. And it's a drought that's affecting more parts of the globe than people, are realizing. It's not just affecting the United States. So as food prices go up, there's less disposable income to go into other products that are produced by other companies. And therefore, it's takes away from that. It's just like oil prices slow down the economy. Well, food prices can slow down the economy just as much. It's one of those things that the average person will pay for no matter what. It's like, food is actually far more important than oil or energy. So I say that, when they say oil prices can affect the economy, I say food prices can affect the economy even more so than oil prices. So this drought is actually going to weigh in very heavily on the market. So I don't think we're going to get, we're not in a situation like this. Our Dow would be way up here right now, so it's not like the 30s, but I think it's up there artificially. So to tell you the truth, I think that, Ben Bernanke, I don't know even if he's going to make this big announcement about QE or not, because he might not ever do it. But behind the scenes, he's still doing it. He's still doing the same things. He is expanding the money supply. And, we might see a jump even in gold or silver just like this. So be patient. Be patient. Like this last jump here in agriculture, all of a sudden it jumped up. We might see some unexpected moves in these metals. I have a very sneaking suspicion that it's going to play out that way, because it's been sitting flat for so freaking long that it's just a tendency of the way it is. It's going to start jumping. It's going to start jumping. But just as this double agriculture has jumped up to this height, it's probably going to go a little bit more, even though it might have a little bit of a pullback here. It's going to be tough to judge when to sell some of the silver and the gold. And that's going to really be a difficult thing to do, because a lot of people don't want to part with it because of the fear of what's happening in the markets and even with the U.S. dollar itself. Do you want to take fiat dollars for gold or whatever? But my advice would be to actually, when you sell some gold and silver, is to do your supplies, do your food supplies, your yearly storage or whatever the heck it is for food, and maybe go into those type of hard assets, because I think some of these things that are coming up are going to be extremely unexpected. You know, the mood last year when silver was that it was going to go right to 100 in no time flat. The mood last year in the weather, if you're looking at the rainfall, was that we were going to be flooded so bad the New Madrid line was going to cause an earthquake. It's almost like you got to steer away from all these popular rumors and just think, calmly, and set your steps in a certain way. Here it is next year. Silver's down, but down like $27. Nobody would have ever said that last year. It was a silver bug. And here this year we have the worst drought on record. It actually is experiencing, in excess of the 1936 heat wave that took place during the Dust Bowl. We're actually in worse situation. Then only 1 year after, we had all these crazy record rains and everything was flooded underwater. So, I don't know. I got to state, be careful with all these rumors, because, in getting people worked up about things, people should prepare. People should be ready for emergencies and just do it step by step by step and have patience. As far as investing in agriculture right now, even though things could take a little bit of a breather, it looks like the trend is still in place pretty strong, and we might go up to some kind of record food prices. And considering that it's not just the United States the drought is taking place, it's also in Russia, and Russia's not going to be exporting any grain. I would imagine that this is going to really drive food prices up worldwide. And like Jim Rogers stated, most of the farmers are well above 50 years old in age, or even beyond. So it's something the younger generation is not doing at all. And as this problem becomes more acute, you're not going to have the manpower out there to actually, alleviate the problem and produce the goods that are needed for the people to eat, Like, this is one good that you can't do without. I mean, you could do without your iPod, or some garbage like that, but you can't do without food. So I got to state that I think Jim Rogers, he made himself an extremely winning bet. And even though this trend might take a little bit of a breather, it's going to continue. And that looks like what's happening even here very recently. So, and I don't even think everything's hit the actual effect of the market yet. I don't think the market's been totally priced in, what the drought effect is. Even though it went up a hell of a lot, it's probably going to go up even more. So, even in the short term, it might be a pretty good bet. But I have a sneaking suspicion that gold and silver are going to start taking off pretty soon, even due to this fears, more fears of what's going on.